Hey guys, it's Tim, and welcome to episode 5 of the Dreaming of Disney podcast. And I'm with my wife, my beautiful wife, my
You almost forgot.
intelligent wife.
You forgot to introduce me there.
I didn't forget. I never forget.
No.
I'm like an elephant.
I'm here too.
She is here. She is joining me.
What? Is this your podcast now?
She's always joining me for life.
It's we're doing this together.
We are doing this together. So episode 5, and this is we're starting our Disney World review marathon.
I don't want to say it's a review. Recap. It's a recap.
It's a recap.
Yeah.
But it's a family of Disneylanders that are going to Disney World. So
For the first time.
For the first time. So, I mean, all we can do is compare. So that's what we do. We compare.
All we can do?
That's not all we can do.
We could just take it as, what it is.
We could.
But we didn't.
We didn't.
So we actually recorded this right after we got back from the trip, which was beginning of February. And it was the first thing we recorded before we even, we were like, hey, let's start a podcast. It would be fun. And we recorded this first because it was fresh in our minds. So it's
a little rough.
Yeah.
It's a little rough.
Yeah. You have to, we had to take a lot out because we're just talking about stuff that doesn't even matter, our flight. You guys don't care. But yeah, I want to give a little disclaimer. Thank you. The first day was rough, and we talk about why. And if I remember correctly, we mentioned that it got better, but I don't want to make any Disney World fans out there upset. There were some things we were feeling pretty negative on, but if you continue with the podcast as the trip goes on, it gets better. We started in Magic Kingdom. It was a rough day for a lot of reasons. We ended the trip in Magic Kingdom, and that day was much better.
Much better.
And it also, when you take those trips and in the moment, it's crazy and busy and stressful, especially if you're traveling with 4 children or any children. But, and at the time you're kind of oh my gosh, why are we doing this? And then after the fact, you're like, oh, that was great. And even during, I said that to you one of the days. I was like, I feel like this trip is going to be one of those trips where we look back and are like, oh, that was so much fun. But when we're in it, we're like, ooh, this is horrible.
Well, I mean, we still get that with Disneyland. After, 3 or 4 days, we're like, okay, I think we're ready. But once we get home, we're like, oh, man, I wish we were there.
Yeah, I'm usually never ready. There was one trip that I felt ready to come home because Boston was only 10 weeks old.
That's right.
So I had just had a baby, and I was I'm ready to go home. Normally I'm not. I'm not. But yeah, we've had days where the first day's rough. We left at 3:00 in the morning and then drove down and we're tired. And so the day goes a little rough, and it was just kind of like that. That first day was rough. It's very different from Disneyland. And so we are used to Disneyland, and then we go into this place where we thought we would kind of know how to do things just because it's Disney, but we found quickly that it wasn't the case. So lots of comparisons. Our heart is in Disneyland, but I will say that we want to go back.
Yeah, for sure.
It's great, and I would totally go back. It was our first time, so there's a lot of bumps in the road. But if you continue listening, I feel like we're going to get more positive.
Yeah. But if you're someone who frequents Disneyland, if you're a California native and just haven't made the jump across the country to go to Orlando, I mean, it's an interesting take because like you said, it's we expected, things to be similar, but it's completely different.
Yeah.
The culture, the phrasing, how they handle things is completely different from Disneyland. And so if you're used
Well,
to
I
going,
wouldn't completely,
not completely different,
it's
but
different.
it's different.
It's different. Yeah.
Different enough to where you're like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in the differences, we definitely do talk about that. So it is interesting.
Yeah.
So, all right.
So yeah, enjoy.
Yeah.
And then next week, so this is just Magic Kingdom, just the first day. And then next week we get into our Hollywood Studios day, and then we'll keep going with it. But
yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So let's get into it.
don't forget to follow us on Instagram,
That's right. Follow us on Instagram.
dreaming.of.disney.podcast.
That's it. All right. Let's go. So we just got back from Disney World. First time.
Well, technically your second time.
Well, I was 5 years old.
I don't know.
I don't remember, but apparently I went. Back in the 80s. No. 90s. Like 1990, I think it was. But anyways. So yeah, first trip to Disney World with us and the kids, all 6 of us. Avid Disneylanders.
Yes.
It was quite an experience.
Yes. We did 6 days in the parks, rest day in the middle, 2 travel days. It was a lot.
Yeah. It's kind of a blur. I guess we just want to talk not about like the actual trip there, like flying there. Do we just want to focus on just
I think just there. Yeah.
just there? Okay.
Yeah.
So we were there how many days? We were there 8 days, but we were in the
No.
park 6 days.
7 days. Well, I just said 6. We had 6 park days, a rest day in the middle, and then 2 travel days.
Okay.
So
Yeah. So we flew on Tuesday. First park day was a Wednesday. We flew back. Last park day was a Monday.
Nope.
No. Last park day was a Tuesday.
flew back Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got into Animal Kingdom Lodge on that Tuesday. I think it was like around 6, 5 or 6, sometime around there.
Something like that.
So that was cool.
Well, it was pretty cool because we thought, I think our reservation said that we just had like a standard view.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's what we thought. And like I noticed when we got there, like the boys were like, "There's a balcony," and I saw that there were like trees and like a little like pond, but I just didn't think anything of it until I think it was Noah saw it first. Did Noah see it first?
Yeah.
The animal lover.
Yes.
And I was like, "There's giraffe out here!" So that was really cool because we had an animal view. So we had giraffe and zebra and
Wildebeests.
water buck.
An ostrich.
An ostrich, who they named Osty, I believe.
Aussie or Aussie?
I think it was Osty.
Osty?
He's
Okay.
very literal. So, but that was really cool. They'd come in the morning and put like food in the trees, and so the giraffe would always like follow the trucks out. And
Multiple giraffe. I think there was
Yeah.
one time there was 3.
I saw 4 at one point because there was like 3 in front of our room, but then I saw like 1 in the distance.
Yeah.
So I don't know how many there were on property, but yeah. So that was really cool.
Yeah. So that was our first day, we got there on Tuesday, checked into the hotel. First day at the parks was Wednesday.
We did Magic Kingdom first.
Magic Kingdom
Got to
first.
start with, Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
Wanted to start with as much Disney as possible.
So we get there, and I think the first thing, the whole shuttle thing was new to us. That was stressful.
Right. Trying to figure out, because we stayed on property, we could do the magic hour, half hour before, which we're used to when we stay like Disneyland Hotel or, anywhere else at Disneyland, but you just walk. So it's easier to figure out like how long it's going to take you to get to the gates. But buses run every 20 minutes?
20 minutes.
That's what they
30
say.
minutes, yeah.
And we, not knowing how long, we were the farthest away from Magic Kingdom. Our hotel was the farthest away from Magic Kingdom. And so not knowing exactly how long it would take and how long the wait for the bus would be and all of that, took some getting used to wanting to get there for Magic Hour. But I will say, that's once we get there.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, they crammed us in there.
Yeah, which I think I was listening to another podcast that said, oh, they're cramming the buses again. So I think for a while they weren't, obviously, hopefully. But now they are. The first day, we're one of the last people on the bus. So we're all standing. And it was the longest ride to the park. It was 20, 25 minutes.
Yeah.
And
mention,
I wasn't wearing Georgia.
Yeah.
I was just holding her. So that was really long.
Yeah, and not to mention we got hardly any sleep the night before because
my gosh, worst night in a hotel.
Georgia, our now 10-month-old baby.
But at the time she was
9 months.
Was like 9.
Yeah.
Oh
got
my gosh.
hardly slept.
Oh my gosh.
Any.
Up every hour. Even on me, she wouldn't sleep. And then Boston, the 5-year-old, had a bad dream, so you're sleeping with him on a twin air
mattress between the two beds.
Because he had a nightmare. Yeah, it was absolutely horrible. I really thought in the middle of the night, I was like, I don't even care. I'm not going in the park tomorrow. I need to sleep. I just need to stay in the room and take a nap with her because I can't. There's no way. That's how I felt in the middle of the night. I was like, I don't even care. I was so stinking tired.
Yeah.
And that was after being up from 3 a.m. our time to fly and all of that. So it was just the night before. There was no sleep.
I mean, we're flying from Central California to Dallas, to then Dallas to Orlando, 3 hours each. So a 6-hour
but really,
travel day.
When you're going east, you're there early. So it was 3 hour time when we got to the hotel. It was 6 p.m. there. But we had been up.
We've been up since 3 o'clock in the
3 or so.
Yeah.
West Coast time, but it's not like we got any sleep before that. I was trying, but So and then a horrible first night in the hotel, and so that was that's what was leading up to our first day in Disney World. So not the best start, but we got there.
Yeah. I think once we got there, got the bus, got there. And so coming from Disneyland, we all know about security, about how long those lines can be and how they look at every single person's bags. And they've gotten a little bit better, but that's what I was expecting. And knowing
I have to say, it's not like I love the lines, but I'd rather them be safe. So I never complain about the security check. Because I'm go ahead. Check it all.
Yeah, no, I definitely want to be safe, but it can be a little bit of a hassle, especially when you have a big family.
Yeah, to get everything out of the stroller and all that.
Take all the bags off and look through every single one. But everybody just walked right through. Yeah. It was totally contactless, and you go through the metal detectors, and it was kind of almost random who they would check bags. But I mean, they checked the stroller, but you just walk right through, and it took I don't know, a minute or so. Yeah,
it was super fast. And I wonder if that was, is there less crime in Orlando? Or also if it's just because there's so many more people, if they just need to move people, so they can't do it as, in depth as, in Anaheim or what? Because I was kind of surprised by that. I was like, oh, okay. And then even then the line into, yes, we always did Magic Hour, pretty much. I think even if we didn't get there right at the start of it, we got there within that first half an hour. But we pretty much walked right in every day.
Yeah.
I think the most we waited was maybe 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So that seemed a lot faster.
I think part of it is the Magic Band system, where everybody just taps in, and sometimes you have to do your fingerprint.
That's true. But it's a lot faster than
Disneyland. They still have paper tickets, and everybody has to take their picture.
True.
And so it's a little bit more of a process. So we tap in. we go through, and we come to Main Street, USA. So what was your first reaction with that?
I was really happy that it felt the same at first. Like, I loved that they had the same music because Main Street's my favorite. Main Street and Fantasyland. But Main Street. That whole, Main Street. So I was really, and I love the music there. So that made me happy that it felt the same. And then, coming around to see the castle was really exciting because while I love Sleeping Beauty's castle, Cinderella's castle is huge and impressive. Like, it's really, like, it's beautiful. Like, I really loved the castle. I mean, it doesn't take the place for me, but so that was really cool. And that's when it was like, oh, it's different. Because, it's like right at the beginning, it's a little different, but then Main Street kind of feels the same, like right when you're walking around.
It's much wider.
What is that? Yes.
It's much wider. It's the buildings are bigger. Mm-hmm. They're taller. But yeah, so it felt very similar. And
until you see the castle.
Until you see the castle,
and then until you get to like the statue.
Yeah.
Well.
But it's like when we go to Disneyland, we usually go to Tomorrowland first. We usually stay along the right side.
We go right,
and we go right, and we hit Tomorrowland. We do Buzz. We do Space Mountain. Star Tours. Yeah. Sometimes the Astro Orbiter.
Sometimes we save that for like the evening because it's so pretty at night.
Yeah. But so we get there and we don't know what to do.
It was they had like a little opening show at the castle, like Mickey and Minnie, so that was cool.
Yeah.
And that like got me really excited for just being there. But then I sent you to Starbucks because
first mistake.
I don't know. I needed it.
Well, yeah, we needed it, but that ate up a lot of our time.
Kind of. But the boys and I headed over. Well, I guess it still kind of did, but I don't care. I needed it. We had not slept. And I felt like I was excited and there was adrenaline, but I needed Starbucks. So we were just going to kind of wander. The boys and I, well, the kids, I guess. The kids and I, the girl is new. So I'm used to saying the boys. Started heading over to Tomorrowland, but it just looked so different that I got kind of like, I have no idea. And then I don't remember if you looked, we were texting. I don't know if you looked on the app or I looked on the app, and we're like, oh, Thunder Mountain's only 5 minutes. So I was like, okay, I'll head over to Thunder Mountain with the boys. You meet me there. But I kind of expected, because I haven't seen a lot of pictures of inside the park, I kind of expected like Adventureland and Frontierland to look the same-ish. I know they have some rides that are different, like the Magic Carpets, which I am bummed we didn't get to do. Spoiler alert, we didn't get to do it. But I had no idea where I was going. So I head to, what is this, Adventureland?
Yeah,
no, I'm sorry, Frontierland. And it's different. Okay. Yeah, look,
You're looking at the map right now?
I'm looking at the map, and which I like studied before we went because I was like always looking at wait times. But still in my head, until just now, a week and a half after we get home, I was picturing it like Disneyland, where Adventureland and Frontierland are like not perpendicular, parallel. Mm-hmm. And they're not. And I'm just realizing this now. So I'm walking through Adventureland, not really knowing where I'm going, and expecting those lands to kind of look similar and to know. But even when you think of, if you look at the maps and compare them, where Frontierland and where Big Thunder is compared to Disneyland's like totally different. So we get there finally, and I'm already like feeling just a little overwhelmed and out of place because it's so weird to not know where I'm going. And so I texted you. I said, go through Liberty Square. Don't go through Adventureland because
that's right.
I was like, I think that'll be quicker, which I think it was. I think you got to us quicker. Yeah, that's quicker, I think. Just because there's like more smaller areas that you have to like wind through. But the line was going super fast for Frontierland. But I had the baby, so I kept having to get out of line and let people go ahead because you weren't there.
Oh, you mean for big
what did
Thunder?
I say?
You said Frontierland, so
Yeah.
the line was going fast for Thunder Mountain.
The line was going fast for Thunder Mountain.
That's right. So we had to get a rider switch.
Right. And so I was like, oh, at first the line was like really far back. And I'm like, oh, let's just get in line. Because by the time, I told the boys, by the time Dad's here, like, it'll be up there. We had to do it 3 times. We kept getting out and going to the end. And then you got there. We did the rider switch. What was your opinion of our first ride in Disney World? That is a ride we have at Disneyland.
Yeah. So I took notes. So my plan was for this whole trip was to take notes about, the times that we got there, the time that we did things, take note of the listed wait time and how long
did you do that for the first ride and only?
I only did it for the first ride.
I know, I think we do.
And it did not last. So we got into line at Big Thunder at 9:40, and it was listed 45 minutes wait time for the standby. Because we didn't do a Genie Plus. I forgot what our Genie Plus was.
We did Genie Plus for. Well, we didn't even talk about that.
That's a whole other thing.
Yeah, that's a whole other podcast. We purchased Mine Train.
That's right.
And we did Peter Pan, but it wasn't until like 4 p.m.
That's right.
So we couldn't get another Genie Plus selection until 11, 2 hours after park opening.
And there was issues with our passes to where not all of us were on it. So I had to get guest relations.
We were going to try to just rope drop Big Thunder.
That's right. Yeah. So we got in there at 9:40 for Big Thunder, and it was listed 45-minute wait standby. We're actually in there for 42 minutes, so it's relative.
Really?
Yeah. That's why I kept track. I did a timer on my phone.
Long. I thought it was like 30 minutes.
42 minutes. So it was pretty right on track. So the standby for that, there's lots of things for kids to do. They have like different cranks and things that you could pull that did things on the ride. Like they have you like crank something to like charge the dynamite, and then you push down on the lever, and it'll make explosions on the actual ride. So you're on like a lookout, and so like the kids or yourself can push down on the lever like you're blowing dynamite, and there'll be like steam pop up with an explosion.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, because Jack and I went through the lightning lane because we had the rider switch, so we didn't see any of that.
Yeah, so they don't have that at Disneyland.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, so we got on the ride, and so this is our first ride that you're like thinking, okay, they have this at Disneyland, and so I would expect it to be the same, but it wasn't. And gotta be honest, it was a pretty big letdown because one, it didn't feel like it was as fast. It felt slower. And in Disneyland, they have, all the explosions. Like you go to that last cave that you go through, and it has the dynamite with the sparks going up the side of the walls, and then you have the big explosion and the steam and the smoke and everything is super loud. Didn't have any of that.
Which that is relatively new.
It is new.
They refurbished that, I'm going to say a few years, but it was probably more.
It was probably more, but it felt like a few years ago. So that wasn't a great start to our experience with the rides at Disneyland, Disney World, because for some reason I thought they were going to be the same, but they weren't.
Well, but I had told you because I had seen like the day before, I think, someone, an Instagram page I follow that normally goes to Disney World was in Disneyland. She went on Big Thunder and she was like, it's actually better here in Disneyland. So I was already kind of set up for that. But yeah. And then from there, the day just got worse.
You felt the same way about that too?
Big Thunder?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. And I mean, I have to say, while I like Big Thunder, mainly because Boston loves it so much, it's never been one of my favorites. Like, it's always been one that I could skip if I didn't have the time.
Yeah, I mean, it's not probably in my top 5, but
No, it's not.
it's something that's at Disneyland is something that you can use to, pass. Or we're waiting for this other thing, waiting for this fast pass, of,
because we usually
good
get,
old days.
fast pass.
And let's just wait, go in this to wait the time. But no, it's fun. But yeah, so that was our first letdown, which becomes more of a theme. And I'm sure people who are listening this who are avid Disney Worlders, which is, that's what you grew up going to, and so you're probably thinking like we're crazy, but we grew up going to Disneyland, so that's what we expect. And when we go there and thinking it's Disney World, it's bigger, it's better, we fly across the country.
I didn't go into thinking it was going to be better.
I had high expectations.
I went into this thinking that I would still love Disneyland more because, almost 4 years ago now, we were able to go to Disneyland Paris, and it was like, oh my gosh.
That's going to be another episode.
That's another episode, but it was like, wow, I love Disneyland in California. So I was not expecting to like it more at all. I was expecting to be a little more wowed than I was overall. But the first day in Magic Kingdom was not great. 5-year-old was having a hard day. My mic's falling. So we had quite a few, meltdowns. And it was really crowded, at least compared to what we are used to at Disneyland. It felt like a very crowded Disneyland day, which we weren't expecting going in early February at Disney World. Also, then the next thing we did was go to Fantasyland, which is crowded in Disneyland, but felt more crowded in Disney World, I think because it doesn't feel as open. It feels more closed in. Because you think Disneyland, when you're walking through, like, next to Peter Pan and the carousel, it gets super crowded through there. But it was also weird to me. Like, everything felt weird in Fantasyland. And, like, the parts of the castle, what are those called? Like
the turrets?
Yeah, that was throwing me off and kept turning me around because I'd pass one and then I would think it was, I thought I was heading towards Mickey's PhilharMagic, and then all of a sudden I'm next to, like, what was on that side? The Meet the Princesses thing. And I was just like, I was so turned around. But,
what my first impressions of Fantasyland was how all the lines were inside buildings.
Right. Whereas, which you brought out a good point our last day was that could definitely be a weather thing.
Yeah, I'll have to double check on this, but I'm pretty sure that because Florida, it rains most of the year.
Is that true?
Pretty sure.
Are people in Florida?
They get more. They definitely get more rain than California.
Everywhere gets more.
And so that makes sense to have all the lines, most of the lines, inside a building, so that way when there's bad weather, you're shielded from the weather.
And I think they might get like a downpour and then it clear up like more throughout the day. Where at California, if you're in Disneyland and it's raining that day, there's a good chance it's going to be raining for like
most of the day,
or like half of the day. Where it was like rain, that's a different day, but like raining and then it's totally gone. You're like, okay. But yeah, and then, so then it just got like, we did the carousel and there was a meltdown by a kid, and then one thing we really noticed a difference in was wait times. Wait times were way longer, and there are long wait times in Disneyland. Rise of the Resistance is long. Space Mountain gets long, like up to 75 minutes. Busy day, 90 minutes, I'd say.
Racers is always over 100 minutes, at least always 90 minutes.
Racers is always long. Toy Story Mania gets pretty long. But then there are the rides like Astro Blasters can get up to like 30 minutes, but like
Winnie the Pooh, it's always 5 minutes.
Winnie the Pooh, 5. The most I've ever seen Winnie the Pooh, probably 15, maybe 20 in the summer, maybe. You can get on Mr. Toad's Wild Ride or Pinocchio, Snow White. Like those typically aren't very long. Small World, I hardly ever see over 30 minutes. So there's those shorter ones where there wasn't anything like that. Like the shortest wait time would be 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And not being used to that, it felt like a long time. I can't even remember what we got at 11, what we got the next Genie Plus Monsters Laugh Floor. So that was a show.
Right. Yeah.
And that was fun.
Yeah,
that was cute. I was having, Georgia was scared of Mike Wazowski, so I was like trying to like keep her from crying. But it was cute. The boys really liked that one. It was funny. And then we were trying to get lunch, I think. Well, and so we got reservations to be our guest, which was like the main thing I wanted to do. And it was really hard to get the reservation. We were checking every day for, since we booked.
Yeah.
And got one, but it was. That's right.
It's time to do laundry.
It's time to change the laundry. But what was I saying? Oh, but the only thing we could get for it was
It was like $4.10.
$4.10 or something like that. So an early dinner, expensive dinner, splurge. But it was like, when am I going to go to Disney World again? I really want to go here. So then we were like, oh, we'll just do a light lunch. And like, we're going to pack light lunches. But because we were so stinking tired and had such a bad night in the morning, it was like, forget it. Let's just get food there. Didn't know where anything was. Mobile order. And how many people were there? It was just long waits. So yeah, like, and even at one point with a meltdown by a child, we considered canceling our reservation and just going back to the hotel and like calling it a day. It just wasn't going well at all.
Yeah.
After Monsters Laugh Floor, I don't even think we got on anything. I don't think we did a ride. Look at pictures.
Yeah, I know. I'm pulling up my pictures to see what we did that day.
We're gonna have to pick this up. We can't go through every day like this.
Yeah, this is gonna have to be multiple.
Maybe.
I think we're gonna have to split this over multiple episodes. So let's see. We are on the carousel, and then I don't have pictures until
Be Our Guest.
Be Our Guest.
Yeah, because there was that time where we were in Tomorrowland, and the boys and I waited for you. Boston fell asleep after another meltdown.
Yeah.
That was after Monsters Inc. or Monsters Laugh Floor. You went into that place to get food, but you did a mobile order, but then you had to wait like 30 minutes or so.
That's right.
And
mobile orders take a long time, a lot longer than Disneyland.
Well, it was so crowded. We were just standing in Tomorrowland. Was that Tomorrowland? Is that considered Tomorrowland? Let me look. And
yeah,
yes,
I mean,
Tomorrowland.
We planned this trip. Was this first or second week of February? We usually go our big Disneyland trip is off. We like going off peak, so end of January. Beginning of February, sometime around the Super Bowl is usually when we like to go. And we went Super Bowl week to Disney World thinking hopefully it would be lesser crowds.
And I think it was.
From what cast members told me was that this was off peak. And it was like a slow day at Disney World is like a busy day at Disneyland.
From the one visit we've had. I don't want to say that. It's also the 50th.
Yeah.
So I remember with the 60th at Disneyland, cast members saying like, "There's no slow time this year."
Yeah.
Like we went off peak and it was a lot busier than our normal winter trip, and cast members were like, "Yeah, the 60th." Like,
yeah.
And so that could definitely be part of it.
There is also COVID. People are, things are opening up. People are traveling more. Yeah. So people are willing to, people probably canceled their trips. 2020, parts of 2021, and now they're like, let's go.
Yeah, that could be part of it too. I was expecting
kind of like what we did.
Yeah, I was expecting it to be less crowded than it was. So there was several hours there where we were just like
walking around,
like, and then Georgia fell asleep, Boston fell asleep. Then she woke up. I needed to feed her. Boston woke up and needed to eat because he also barely had breakfast. Oh, it was a bad day for him. It was a very bad day for Boston. And so then I fed her. This was like right before Be Our Guest. We were trying to figure out what to do. He ate, got a little better, and then we still didn't really know quite what we were going to do. I feel like, what time was Mine Train? Was Mine Train after dinner?
Let's see.
Yes, Mine Train was for 6 or 6:30.
Yeah, it was in the evening.
But I feel like we went on another ride.
No, I have a picture. I have a Disney photo pass here from Mine Train at 4:43. That's not right. 4:43 our time, Pacific time. So this would be 7:43 East Coast time.
Right.
So
because we just went to
yeah.
I think we just went to Be Our Guest. We hung out in front, but I went somewhere and met you over by Be Our Guest. I went.
Yeah, where did you go? I don't remember.
Maybe I went to change her or something.
You might have. But so there's that time hole of whatever happened between Laugh Floor around lunchtime and Be Our Guest at 4:10. But yeah, we checked in a little bit, or I think we checked in like around 4. We were early, so you told me when we booked this, the one thing that you wanted to do was Be Our Guest. And then I saw the price tag, and I was like, I don't know.
But it was a splurge. I wanted it to be a splurge. It was the one splurge
that we did.
We tend to, which that's a whole other thing, pack lunches for the boys most days, but our fridge broke in our hotel, so ruined a bunch of our food, so we weren't able to do that as much.
Another story.
Another fail that happened. But that was my plan. I was like, well, a couple days I'll pack lunch for me and you and the boys, because I just really wanted to eat here. I remember when it opened and seeing it on the news, and I really wanted to eat here. And unlike the day leading up to it, it held up. Like, it was amazing. Like, I loved it. Like, walking in to the ballroom, like, it was beautiful. Like, we didn't eat in the ballroom. So you can eat in the ballroom, in the West Wing, or in Belle's room.
We were in Belle's room.
Yeah, we were in Belle's room. I think those were the only 3, though, dining areas. But you walk in and they, walk you through the ballroom, and it was beautiful. Like, it looks exactly like the movie. Like, it was really, really cool. They did an amazing job. Like, my pictures are kind of blurry because I was walking, but it was awesome. So, so we were in Belle's room, and like, if you don't know, it's, a 3-course.
Yeah,
right?
It's a prefix, 3-course meal.
I mean, you have options, but
yeah, I mean, it's all included. So your appetizer, your entree, and your dessert are all included in the price. And
the Beast walks through the dining room every once in a while, and I have to say, Georgia was dressed up. She had her bell onesie on, and the food was really good. The boys liked their food. They have the kids' meal. It was a lot of food.
It was so
much food.
And also, this was like the first like restaurant that we ate at since COVID.
No. When we went to Disneyland over the summer.
Well, I guess true.
But, it was outdoor. This was indoor.
This is the first like indoor. I mean, we were pretty careful this whole time. It was our choice to not go to restaurants, to be careful and all those types of things. It was just what we felt comfortable with. And we decided, okay, let's go do this. But yeah, it was really awesome.
Yeah.
What did you have? I don't remember what you got.
I don't remember. Well, I had French onion soup as an appetizer.
I got the same thing.
Which it tasted good. I'm not crazy about French onion soup. The other thing, I can't remember what it was. I was also trying to like settle Gigi in, and so I just kind of got something quick because he like asked kind of quickly, and I just kind of like, I was just a little flustered after the day and getting the kids settled, and so I just kind of picked it, and it wasn't bad, but it's not my favorite thing, so it was fine. I got like a veggie and corn something, roasted something. I can't remember.
I have to look at the menu.
Because it was like, there was like a steak. I'm not a big steak person, or like filet mignon or whatever. I'm not a big. And I'm not just like a big chicken. Yeah, the other things just weren't calling out to me. Really, what I wanted. I wanted
the gray stuff.
The gray stuff. I wanted to see the ballroom, and I wanted the gray stuff. Like, that's what I wanted. I had also heard about the kids' dessert, which was so awesome. Well, okay, wait. First, what the boys got. Like, Jack got some chicken. Noah in Boston got macaroni and cheese. And honestly,
Noah
because
is
I'm a
a
kid,
mac and cheese connoisseur. Well, so are you, but
well,
you guys are.
it's
you're
both
one
of
and
our
the same.
favorite food, and I kind of wish I could have just gotten the kids macaroni and cheese because it wasn't Kraft or anything. Like, it was good. I was like, oh, I want that.
You got the Vadouvan spiced vegetables.
Yeah. Yes.
That's what you got.
And it was good. It was really good. But
Sauteed for those who aren't familiar, it's sauteed seasonal vegetables, crispy corn cake with coconut Vadouvan juice, and pickled mustard seeds.
Yeah, and it was good. I am like a pasta person, and I would have just like downed that bowl of macaroni and cheese. But what'd you get? You got like
I got the filet
mignon, right?
mignon, and I am a chicken fingers and French fries kind of adult. Not very adventurous when it comes to food. But I mean, I like steak and stuff like that. But when it comes to other like what you got, I would never pick that. Yeah. And I don't like seafood.
Yeah, it was a seafood thing, and I don't like seafood. Yeah.
And so very meat and potatoes type guy.
Yeah.
But it was good. It was good. We didn't get any drinks or anything.
No.
But yeah, the gray stuff was very good.
Well, and they just brought out. So you didn't choose your dessert. You got
It was a trio.
A trio. So 3 different. There was a raspberry macaroon, which was probably my favorite. Then some of the gray stuff, and then a truffle, which was really good. And then the kids' dessert was awesome. It had like a waffle cone, but shaped as chip, and then edible paint. 3 different colors of edible paint, so they could paint the cup, and then it had the gray stuff that they could put in the cup, and then they also got a macaroon and a truffle. So that was super cute. So they get to paint the cup, and then they can put the gray stuff in it, and then eat it all. So that was great. They loved that. That was super cute. Definitely not like say we were regular Disney World goers. Definitely not a every trip restaurant that we're going to do, but I don't regret it at all. Like, I think it was definitely worth it if you want to do splurge and have like a fancy dinner and the experience of the whole thing. Like, I think it was really cool.
Yeah.
And then walking out, like, you walk, there's a little area that has like all the suits of armor, like when they're giving her the tour and stuff of the castle. And yeah, it was really cool. Like, I think if you're going to splurge on a meal, granted, I haven't tried any of the other, like, higher price tag restaurants there, but I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
And for the dads that are wondering, okay, what's the final price tag?
No, don't even say it. 'Cause I don't know. I don't know, and I don't really want to.
Well, it was...
you could say what it is per person and let them do the math, and I'm just going to
$62 per adult.
I'm going to force myself not to do the math in my head.
So there was 2 adults, and then the kids menu was $37 per kid.
And we had 3 kids.
So 2 adults, 3 kids. You do the math.
Yeah, because we didn't obviously get
Most
a meal
expensive meal we've ever had
for
at
the
Disney
baby.
Park.
Yes,
but it was the
was
experience. It was cool. The food was good.
Like, and we've talked about if we ever go back, just you and I, like, talks about an anniversary trip sometime. Like, we would do it again, you and I, for like a special anniversary dinner.
Yeah.
But
I think what I should, because you see those shirts that these husband and wives wear that say "best day ever." The wife's wearing the best day ever.
Most expensive day
and
ever.
then the dads are wearing most expensive day ever. You should have had the best dinner ever, and I could wear the most expensive dinner ever. But
was it? Oh yeah, it was probably more than the river cruise in Paris because there was 5 of us.
Yes.
Well, there was 5 of us, and there was only 2 of us in Paris. So
yeah, but that also had bottomless wine as well.
I don't know, but it, like, again, if you want to splurge, I think it was worth it, especially if you love Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
Like, I do. So, if you're not a fan of the movie necessarily, like, maybe you want to try one of the other fancier restaurants there, because there's a lot in comparison to
so many
Disneyland.
Restaurants. So many restaurants.
Eating food is a much bigger.
It's experience in itself at Disney World.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. It's a lot bigger. There's 4 parks, so there's more places to eat. A lot more fine dining. Fine dining. That's the word I'm looking for. A lot more fine dining than in Disneyland. But yeah. So, and then after that.
So we came out. We were walking. Let's see.
We got Fast Pass. Genie Plus for Buzz, for Astro.
That's right.
What is it?
Sorry about that. That was my computer.
Oh, I thought it was my phone.
Well, I have that reminder as well. So
I need dessert. It's almost 10 o'clock.
It is. We're at 40 minutes now, so we may need to stop after Magic Kingdom and pick this up another day. But so we did the equivalent to Astro Blasters at Disneyland. Buzz.
Okay, wait.
Spin
back up.
something.
Back up. I have to say, I did love the area walking up, because I wasn't huge on Disney World Fantasyland in comparison to Disney World. Disney World Fantasyland, I wasn't crazy about in comparison to Disneyland.
Magic Kingdom.
Oh, Magic Kingdom. Yes, Magic Kingdom. But the area, like, walking up to Be Our Guest, and how they have the Beast Castle up in the distance.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, the mountains with snow. Like, it's really cool.
Yeah.
And then when you walk past that, you have Gaston's Tavern and, like, that area. And then even around that, there was the Little Mermaid ride, which I didn't get to ride, and I wanted to, because I wonder if it was the same as the California one or different, the one in California Adventure. But the outside of that was really cool. Like, they have the ship, and it looks like Eric's castle, Prince Eric's castle, and that little corner there I thought was cool. So just want to say that.
Yeah.
On to Buzz.
So yeah, we did that. So that was, it's different because, Disneyland, that version of that ride, you have the ray guns that you can pick up and move, and and they make sound effects when you pull the trigger, and so you can
see the laser.
You can see the laser, and you can also you get a sound effect when you hit something, so you hit it.
Right.
With this one, it was the blaster was on a little pedestal that you moved up, much similar to Toy Story Mania.
Oh, I didn't. It was farther away.
Well, I know, but it was
pull it close to you.
No, that's what I meant. It's
okay.
like Toy Story Mania. It's on the thing,
yeah,
and then you move it around.
But you pull the string.
But that's what I'm talking about. It's attached to the ride.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
The gun is attached to the ride, to your vehicle. Whereas in Disneyland, you pull it out and it's connected to a cable, but you're able to move it around and aim better.
Handheld.
It's handheld. And this one, I don't know which one came first, whether the Disney World one or the Disneyland one.
Let's see. I'm going to Google it.
But I hate to say it. And I don't want this to sound like we're ripping on Disney World.
I know.
But it felt like a cheap knockoff.
Well, okay, I will say the track was cool. Like, you go up, you come down.
Yeah. I was holding Georgia for this one, so I wasn't doing much.
Right. Like, the track was pretty cool, and it was different. So that was kind of neat. And you, like, went up a hill, you came down. What you saw, I didn't feel like was any better, honestly. But I guess just the motion of it was different and kind of neat.
Yeah.
But I had a hard time aiming at anything because I couldn't hold the blaster.
Yeah.
It was attached, and you just kind of swivel it around.
Yep.
So you couldn't really aim. Like, you can put it right up to your eye, and like aim in Disneyland. I couldn't aim at anything, and then I had no idea if I was hitting anything.
Yeah.
There was no laser. There was no sound, at least that I could hear. Maybe
Maybe it wasn't working correctly that day.
Maybe. And maybe you can, but, at least, what's it called? Okay, wait, Astro Blasters. Okay, Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters. I'm trying to figure out when it opened. But, yeah. Okay, when did open? Okay, 2005 in Disneyland. So what's it called in Disney World? Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin. Okay. Space Ranger Spin. 98.
Oh,
so it is older.
It's older at Disney World.
So that makes sense. They maybe were like, all right, let's do it a little different.
Disneyland has an updated version.
Yeah, and that makes sense because it was like
it did feel a little dated.
It did, but like I said, you kind of instead of it just being flat, there were some hills to it.
Yeah.
And obviously, you're not going fast or anything, but so that was a little different and kind of fun. The boys were like. Just because they were like, we couldn't really aim at anything, and you couldn't really tell if you could hit anything. So I again feel that Buzz Lightyear has a what's the term?
Better version
at
Disneyland.
Yeah, it's better at Disneyland. That's what I'm trying to say.
It is newer, so you can't really compare the two.
Yeah, that's
once we get to things like Space Mountain, I
day.
have a prelude, little sneak peek. I do not like Space Mountain at Disney World. Disneyland blows it out of the water. Like the Disney World Space Mountain is not Space Mountain.
I wonder which one opened first.
Obviously, Disneyland.
Why is that obvious?
Because
it open?
I believe it opened first.
It didn't open in 1955 because Tomorrowland opened in.
But it was the first indoor roller coaster.
Well, check it out. Let's see. So while you look at that, so after that, we did Mine Train. No, we did Mine Train before Buzz.
Did we do it before?
I think we skipped Mine Train.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So you and the
Space Mountain opened in Disneyland in 1977.
Okay.
So that's before when did Space Mountain
Disney World opened in 71, so
oh, that's right. Disney World. It opened in interesting. Okay.
What is it?
75. So I was wrong.
So it's older.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm starting to see a pattern here.
It's also, though, when have they been refurbished? Because they have redone Space Mountain.
At Disneyland?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I think when Jack was little or Noah was little, remember it was closed for a while and they were
That's
updating
true.
some things. And
so I assumed that Disneyland Space Mountain was older, but it's actually...
It's newer.
It's
by 2 years.
Newer by 2 years.
So not much, but yeah.
But still.
Yeah.
I was not expecting what I got, but we'll talk about that later.
I feel like, was Mine Train at... No, I'm taking this back.
We did Mine Train.
Mine Train before Beauty and the Beast.
No.
Yeah, we did, because Boston was asleep when you guys went on it. And I walked him and Gigi around. I was wearing her, he was asleep. You guys went on it.
Here,
and then...
I can look at my emails to see when I got
it was 4.
Genie Plus for that.
Yeah. No, that's where I came from when we went up to be our guest, I think. Because we didn't ride it when it was dark. Yeah.
We got Mine Train. Oh, yeah. Between 225 and 325.
I don't know where... Slinky Dog Dash was 6.
Oh, that's right.
So, okay. Yeah.
So we did Mine Train.
It was before dinner because Boston was asleep. You took Jack and Noah. You guys got off. So now we're backtracking a bit. And you guys loved it. So
Mine Train was awesome.
This was a ride that we'll have to, we'll say these things as we go and then give our final thoughts at the end. That is not in Disneyland.
No. Yep.
Only in Disney World. You guys loved it. Boston woke up, ate, came with me on it. We loved it. I loved Mine Train. Because we were like, okay, I've heard it's really fast. The wait's always over 100 minutes pretty much. We purchased it. We purchased an individual lightning lane for it because we were wanting to do that, especially for rides that were in Disney World that are not in Disneyland, so that we got to try them. And yeah, I loved it. I thought it was so fun.
Mm-hmm.
I was really bummed that it was such a long wait standby because I totally would have done it again, but we didn't in our trip. Super cute and the fun roller coaster. I liked it better than Disney World Thunder Mountain, which all the boys said the same.
Yeah.
I was expecting it to be a little more kiddie, but it was like a good, like, I mean, it's not like Incredicoaster or anything like that, but like a good little roller coaster, and like with the Snow White theme and all that. So yeah, I really liked Mine Train.
Yeah, it was fun.
I think that's one that I definitely was like, man, I do wish we had it in Disneyland. Like,
yeah, and I like when you get your Disney Photo Pass, so you get a picture, but they also give you a slow motion video too.
Yeah, that's cool.
So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, so we all loved that one.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was back then. Dinner.
So dinner.
Buzz. We did that
Buzz,
after Buzz.
And then we had. Wait, did you do the saucers earlier that day?
That's Hollywood.
Oh, that's Hollywood.
That's Hollywood.
So I'm thinking, okay.
Yeah.
I'm got all confused.
Yeah.
Because you said Slinky Dog.
Because I was mixing up our return times.
That's right.
I knew we had a return time at 6, and it was for Slinky Dog. After that, we just headed to Main Street.
That's right. We just
to get a spot.
Yep.
We got magic bands because we didn't have magic bands for the boys. Mm-hmm. So we were just going to do a little like shopping. I think we got. No, we had a big dessert at VR Ghost.
Yeah.
Just got a spot on Main Street. What I do like about Disney Magic Kingdom is fireworks are at 8.
Yeah,
so
they're earlier.
Exhausted. We have a 9-month-old baby. Fireworks are later in Disneyland. So I was glad that they were at 8 o'clock. So yeah, we got a good spot on Main Street, which we weren't really sure. Like, we obviously want to watch the fireworks at some point in our trip, but like we were so exhausted and how many people are going to be around. But we got there early enough to where we got a good spot. And I had heard that they projected things on, the buildings down Main Street.
Which is like Disneyland. They do
right.
the same thing at Disneyland.
Right, but I was okay with not being right in front of the castle.
Yeah.
And so we were down Main Street a bit, pretty much right in front of the Emporium.
Yeah, we're right across from the Emporium.
So towards the end
right
of Main
side.
Street.
Yeah.
Which we were nervous about buses back to the hotel after the fireworks.
Yeah.
And so we kind of wanted to be towards the end of the park so that we could get out of there quicker. So we just hung out there for like an hour, I think, like I fed Georgia, boys just played, Boston got a bubble blower, so they're playing with that. You did some shopping.
I got you your
got
spirit,
me
spirit
my Disney World 50th Spirit jersey that I love. Yeah, and then the fireworks.
Yeah.
So the 50th fireworks.
Yeah, what'd you think?
I thought they were really cool. I mean, I couldn't see. I mean, I'm short.
Short girl problems.
I always have last minute a very tall man who decides to put his 8-year-old on his shoulders in front of me, which I didn't have that. But people always stand in front of me last minute that are taller than me, which is like, okay, whatever. I've seen the fireworks a million times, but I don't like it when I have 3 little boys that are trying to see the fireworks, and this Amazon teenage boy, like 4 minutes in, steps directly in front of Jack and Noah.
Yeah, it's pretty irritating.
Is on his cell phone texting.
Yeah, he wasn't even watching.
He wasn't even watching. Then he calls his sister, who is just as tall. I mean, they're taller than you.
Was it his sister? It
yeah,
looked like
because
more like a girlfriend.
I know, but they both called to their mom, so I think.
I didn't hear that part. Okay.
So this whole family comes up
weird.
next to us, and then he was whispering to her, I think, because it was loud. Or not whispering, but it was loud. So he was talking in her ear because they were trying to plan what ride they were going to go to.
No, I didn't hear any of this. Apparently, you were eavesdropping on.
Well, they were right in front of me. They were standing right in front of me. You were behind.
I was behind you.
Holding Boston was standing on the stroller, and you were kind of stabilizing him. And they're just on their phones looking at Genie Plus, trying to decide what to do during the fireworks, and they're standing in front of two little boys. And I was just about to say something, because usually they were on their phone, and I was going to be like, if you're not watching, can you please move to the side, because you are, like, completely 100% blocked them. They could not see a thing anymore. Yeah. And then they decided they walked through. But they stood there for like 5 minutes or so. And it's not like the fireworks are really long. And I was really irritated. I was like, you're not even watching. And you're like, you stand in front of adults, okay. But when you cut directly in front of an 11 and 8-year-old and just stand there, I was so really irritated.
Well, it's
so
Disney courtesy to make sure that, you know, if you're standing in front of kids, to make sure that they can see.
Well, I mean,
you know,
a lot of people don't do that.
I
but
know,
it would be nice if you did. Like, duck down.
There's so
you're
many
like
times
8 feet
that
tall.
we've waited at parades or things like that, and you know, families, you know, they move, they see that we're coming up, they move. Oh, let's move over to the side, and you know, oh, come up
boys,
here, come up here to the line.
Your boys can come up here if they want. Yeah. But these were also teenagers.
Yeah.
So, but the mom was standing right next to me, and she's like, and I like said out loud, I was like, now my boys can't see, and she didn't, you know, respond. But I was just like, oh, it was really irritating.
Yeah.
But as far as the fireworks go, I mean, they were great.
Yeah.
You know,
it was great.
They were, I definitely didn't get 60th fireworks in Disneyland.
Yeah.
Made me cry.
Nothing compares.
The 50th ones with Julie Andrews. I don't remember the name of them, though. They played them for a long time after the 50th, but it was with Julie Andrews narrating. Those always, you know, choked me up. And then the 60th ones got me, too. So I didn't get emotional during this one. Also couldn't really see the castle. So I know there was things projected on the castle. Got that later. But this first night, I couldn't really see it. But yeah, they were great. I really liked they had a Frozen part. And they did Into the Unknown, which I thought was cool that they didn't do. I mean, we all love Let It Go, and those were the during the 60th. The Let It Go was always the part that like got me. I started crying. Yeah. What? Who am I kidding? I started crying at the very beginning of those fireworks, but I really liked that they did some Frozen 2 in there. So yeah, but yeah, they were great. Like I wouldn't say skip it, you know.
Yeah.
Like I would. It's definitely worth watching.
Yeah, so we saw the fireworks. They were great. We got another chance to see them later in the trip, but we can talk about that later. I mean, the first day was kind of a wash. Yeah, we can't really compare, but...
Because we had a lot of things stacked up against us. Lack of sleep, fridge breaking, so we couldn't pack lunches. You know, that just started the day off not great.
Yeah.
5-year-old having a very hard day.
Yeah. You know,
so not the best start, but
overall impressions of of Magic Kingdom. Mine, it was interesting to see the differences in how things were laid out differently. I personally felt like it was like a bizarro Disneyland, kind of like it was trying to be Disneyland, but it wasn't. But I know it's a totally different park, so it's not supposed to be Disneyland. I think the one thing that struck me that was different about Magic Kingdom compared to Disneyland is I personally felt like it was lacking the charm of Disneyland. And the storytelling factor of how each land within Disneyland compared to Magic Kingdom weaved into each other. So like Adventureland weaved into Frontierland, Frontierland weaves into New Orleans Square, all that kind of stuff is just, it all kind of flowed. I felt like Disneyland, Magic Kingdom was very like blocky. It's like you have Adventureland, you have Frontierland, and then you have Liberty Square that comes out of nowhere. Like, what is this? And then, you know, Fantasyland and how it was very like closed and compact. And but yeah, I mean, it's a different park,
Yeah.
and so you can't really compare it to Disneyland, but we are comparing it to Disneyland because that's what we know.
It's
but,
hard not to when it is in the 4 parks. It is the counterpart. Like, it
Yeah.
is the counterpart to Disneyland.
Mm-hmm.
Magic Kingdom is. So even if it's not supposed to be Disneyland, it's, out of the
Yeah.
4 parks in Disney World, it is,
Yeah. What were your first impressions, Magic Kingdom?
The same. I mean, I definitely didn't expect to like it more than Disneyland because of previous experience going to a different Disneyland and not, being like, oh yeah, no, Disneyland is, California is my favorite. But I did expect to feel still like I was in Disneyland.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt disappointed this first day.
Yeah.
But I recognized all of the things leading up to this day set us up just to have a bad day. So I was like, okay, this day is just going to be a wash, and we still have a week, and we're coming back. We were going back to Magic Kingdom. Our last day, we were planning on spending the whole day in Magic Kingdom. We also didn't know if we were going to park hop to it later. So I knew we were getting another chance at it, and I was pretty confident that the next time would be better. Because we've had bad days in Disneyland.
Yeah.
We've had days where one of the kids was melting down all the time, and we were exhausted, and we've had bad days. So I was confident that the next time would be better.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
But
It's
the first day was a bit of a downer.
I mean, I think I had high expectations, and you don't want to go into having set expectations, but I did. I mean, even like when we went to Disneyland Paris, like I went into that knowing this is not Disneyland. It's a Disney
I
park
was worried
in a totally different country, and I mean, I think it's changed since the time we went, but like I didn't feel let down when we went there. Be like,
oh, I did. Well, because I had wanted to go to Paris my entire life. It was my dream. Finally get to go, and we're going to Disneyland, my favorite place in Paris, the one place I've wanted to go my entire life. I was worried I would love it more than Disneyland California, but like, when in the world am I going to go back to Disneyland Paris? Like, I knew it was a once in a lifetime thing. And then I didn't have to worry about that because it was like, are we like at a carnival or something? Like, which again, we could talk about that later and why it felt that way. But, so I was not going into this at all thinking that I would feel that way. Like, I knew I would love Disneyland California, but like, or I should just say Disneyland because it's the Magic Kingdom, better.
yeah,
But I expected to have a great day.
yeah,
And the first day wasn't. So it was, yeah. But if we are going to do an episode for each park, I want to leave it, because this has been a little negative.
yeah. We've been very negative on this.
Overall,
and don't want to be
but this was the
those
first.
people.
This was the first day.
Yeah,
So if you're traveling on an airplane with 4 children, horrible night's sleep the first night in the hotel, no matter what you do that first day, it's probably going to be rough.
yeah,
Like, we had a lot of things that were against us here. So I just want to leave it at saying, overall, our trip was great.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a great time.
yes,
So the first day wasn't great, but it got better.
It got better.
And there were lots of ups and downs, but it's one of those trips where it's like it's ups and downs, and we're the adults and the parents. So the kids are having a great time most of the time and not realizing that we're like stressed out or exhausted. But then you get home and you're like, oh, that was great.
yeah, yeah. I know. We got home. We're like, oh, we miss it. Even though there we're like, oh, this is stressful.
Yeah.
And also one thing that threw me off was, because I'm usually the person that handles all the tickets, that handles the fast passes, now the Genie Plus and all that stuff, and I was thrown off just about how interconnected everything had to be when it comes to your hotel reservation, the names on your tickets, that has to correspond to the Disney Plus selections, and just how if everything is not quite set up just right, it like messes everything else up.
Which we have not yet been to Disneyland with Genie Plus.
No.
So we'll see. We're going in a couple months. We'll have already been probably when this one airs. But yeah, maybe not. I don't know. But we'll see how if it's now similar in Disneyland, because we haven't been yet with Disney
it's just
or Genie Plus.
With Disney World, you link your people to your hotel reservation.
Right.
And to be able to get that first reservation at 7 a.m., the Genie Plus at 7 a.m., everyone in your party has to be linked to your hotel reservation so that they know that this person has a hotel reservation so they can get that early Genie Plus. And so one of our kids wasn't on there for whatever reason. And so when I went to make the Genie Plus for an individual Lightning Lane, it wouldn't let me.
Yeah.
Because that one kid wasn't on there.
That's right. But we had to go to guest services, and they helped us and got us all individual Lightning Lanes for Mine Train. But
they figured it all out. They were very when I explained the situation, like, we're from California, this is how it works there. And
it's totally different.
It's totally different. And like, oh yeah, we totally know. It's so they're very helpful. But yeah, it's just how everything is all interconnected, and with the magic bands, which are really cool.
They are really cool. The boys loved it.
Yeah, I'm glad we got those, and I love how we both have Apple Watches, and so we can connect that to our Apple Watches. So I haven't used a magic band.
Just tapping it
in. It makes it so much easier.
Yeah, which is coming to Disneyland. So
it's
that'll
coming
be fun.
to Disneyland sometime this year. So the boys can use their magic bands at Disneyland, which will be good.
Yeah, that's fun.
But okay, well, first day Magic Kingdom. We're a little over an hour now.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so I think this is going to be a multi episode saga of our trip to Disney World.
We'll have to pick it up with. Well, and two, because this isn't like if we were talking about a Disneyland day, we could go through it fast because we don't necessarily have to say our opinions on everything.
Yeah.
But we're talking about our opinions first time going to Disney World, so it's going to be a little longer. But we can probably combine like Animal Kingdom and our Epcot day.
Yeah,
into one episode.
Those days were shorter days. There's much more things to do in Magic Kingdom than there is
in
Animal Kingdom and Epcot.
Well, yeah, we're good.
Yeah, but so we'll end it here. Yes. But our next day was Hollywood Studios.
Yes.
Which was Thursday, and it was a much better day.
Everyone slept so much better that next night.
Georgia slept the entire night.
She did. I didn't even feed her.
Yeah, she slept all night.
That's right. We got in late. Well, that's okay. Yeah, because then the buses, took a long time.
It took a long time.
Line for the bus, packed, 25-minute ride or so back to our resort. So she went to bed pretty late. So I fed her late. So she didn't even wake up to eat. She slept through the night.
Yeah, we all slept better.
Yeah, all slept a lot better.
We were instantly on Eastern time.
Yeah.
After that, we didn't have any problems adjusting.
Yeah. And so that leading into the next day was already like feeling so much better.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we were excited about Hollywood Studios. Our boys were excited because of obviously Galaxy's Edge, and we were excited about Toy Story Land and all that.
Thank you for using Galaxy's Edge and not Star Wars Land.
I wanted to say Star Wars Land, but
I am a huge Star Wars nut. I live in Galaxy's Edge. I live for it. I live for Rise of Resistance.
I just feel like they missed it. Okay, Fantasyland, Frontierland, Adventureland, Tomorrowland, Star Wars Land. It just goes. You're naming all the lands, and then you're like Galaxy's Edge. It just. So I like to call it Star Wars Land.
Well, it's like but Star Wars is all about planets. You don't and places. You don't call it Star Wars Planet. You're like, we're going to Star Wars Planet. It
doesn't even make any sense.
Well, you're talking about Star Wars is all about the galaxy and the experiences and the journey, and so just calling it Star Wars Land is like, bleh. So Galaxy's Edge. You're going to Batuu.
Okay.
So. I've lost her already.
All right.
So, but yeah. So, Hollywood Studios was the next day. We'll talk about that later. I am when Rise of Resistance was the boarding pass system, I was a master. Not
Timothy.
No.
The first day? Oh my gosh.
Well,
do you remember you on the first day?
Once we figured out the how it worked, and
you did research on where to stand in the park for the best Wi-Fi and how to refresh and all of this, taking the wonderful spontaneity, magical feel out of Disneyland.
But after that first day, I got a boarding pass every single time we went. And multiple times got it in the first boarding groups of the day.
Yeah. I still just don't like this whole thing. I feel like it takes a huge thing that I used to love about going to Disneyland away.
Yeah. No, I know.
The whole, I have to get my ticket at 7 a.m. or I'm never going to be able to ride this ride. I don't like it.
But we didn't, just spoiler alert, we didn't do Rise of Resistance Strip
did not.
Because we have that at Disneyland. We've been on it.
And it's an individual lightning lane, which it is also in Disneyland, which is... that's another episode, but we did not want to pay. We were already paying so much. We didn't want to pay extra to ride a ride that we have in Disneyland when there were rides like Slinky Dog Dash that we don't have, and Mickey and Minnie's Railway, which is coming, but not yet. We wanted to make sure to get those first. So, yeah. Didn't do Rise.
So. All right. We'll stop here. Time for some dessert.
So much. Oh, my gosh.
And then go to bed because...
I wish it was
school and work tomorrow.
It was a churro.
Yeah. I'd take a churro right now. Or a Mickey ice cream bar.
Or a Matterhorn macaroon.
Oh, yeah. Jolly holiday. All right. We're out.